Good evening. I hope we will have an interesting one today because I'm a little bit overwhelmed with two parashot with a lot of details. And so first of all, we will talk about the parasha itself. We have two parashot. One second. One parasha is Tazria. One parasha is Metzora. Yeah? Tazria and Metzora, they are two parashot that talking about impure or purity, we can call it. So in a very unique ways that there is in Judaism. But first of all, the parasha starts about special laws of a woman that getting birth, having a baby, boy and a girl. So in the time of the temple, she would needed to wait a week, and then another 33 days for a boy, 66 days for a girl, and then she bringing sacrifice. So this is all unique and special sacrifice that you can bring also a bird as a sacrifice, a doe I think that's called. And this is one detail. By the way, the Torah telling us the commandments of, not commandments, just one few words about Brit Milah, about to do the circumcision. One of the reasons that we know that we're doing circumcision in the 8th day. One of the reasons why in the 8th day. So one of the reasons is because the mother is impure in the first 7 days. In the time of the temple, it was a special things that we're not so much doing today, because there is this kind of purity not needed. But she was impure, and that's why she was a little bit sad. And to do the Brit Milah on the day that she was sad after the birth, it's a little bit too much. So that's why in the 8th day, we're doing the Brit Milah. This is, of course, simple reason. Maybe we will talk a little bit more. After that, the Torah starts all the laws of Tzara'at. What is Tzara'at? Who knows? Tzara'at, in English, there is a word. And this is the main topic of the two parasha. In Russian is prokaza. Can be? Yes? How you say it in English?
Plug. Is it a
plug? Leprosy.
Oh, yeah. The same plug or
Leprosy, lepra. Yeah. Actually, those not the exact words. I don't know about the Russian, but in Hebrew, the tzarat. In modern Hebrew, the tzarat is maybe the leprosy, but in the Torah, the tzarat is very unique and special disease, or a skin disease, something special that happening to the skin, or not only to the skin. There is three kinds of tzarat, three levels of tzarat. There is tzarat on the body of a person. There is tzarat on the clothing. There is tzarat on the houses. The law is if you see some skin disease, special thing that you don't understand what is it, in one of the three, you need to go to the Kohen, and it's very interesting, not to the rabbi, to the Kohen. You need to go to the Kohen, and he will tell you what to do. How he would know? The Torah telling what to do. So why cannot I also know what to do, because it's written in the Torah. If I'm a big rabbi, why I need to go to the Kohen? No, this is the law, that only the Kohen can say that this is pure or not pure. So we would say, Abraham, everything okay? Yes. Okay. Okay. Enjoy. So the tzarat of the person is few kinds of, as we said, some skin color in the skin. So there is some kinds that they are pure, and there is some kinds that they are not pure. The pure ones, a person going to isolation for 2 weeks, and after 2 weeks isolation, we know 2 weeks isolation, unfortunately, today also. But after 2 weeks isolation, the Kohen needs to come again and to look again if something changes, if he become not more impure or he become pure again. If something change in a bad way, you need to go outside the camp and wait for 1 week. I'm mixing the two parasha because there is the laws in one parasha, and the laws of how becoming pure again is in the second parasha that we're reading this week. And again, there is the same thing with the clothing. If a person have some skin disease, some kind of how you say, some color on the clothing, you need to call the Kohen. The Kohen will take him to isolation for 1 week. If the in Hebrew it's called nega. Nega, it's the leprosy. I don't know if you can say leprosy on clothing also, but if the leprosy become bigger, so you need to destroy this clothing. If not, if it's staying the same, you putting the clothing in the mikveh. Yeah. And then it become pure. This is details of the in general. There is the same thing about the houses. If the houses, this is only in Israel. If the houses of Israel have also this leprosy on the house, some kind of color, so again you should wait 1 week. After that you should take everything if nothing changes, and then if you need to destroy the stones.
And sorry to interrupt. Probably what you mean, not really leprosy on the house. Maybe we can say mold, you know?
Mold, but it's not only, I think mold, it's not with color.
Well, it's gray, or like
yes.
darker.
This is very strange one. This becoming with color. It can be white. Just this is something special, interesting, heavenly. It's heavenly.
Colored mold, yeah.
And then you're destroying the house, as I said. But if the house become pure, or the clothing, or the person, we're seeing after 1 week or 2 weeks, the leprosy, I don't know how to call it, becoming smaller. So there is some kind of sacrifice of also birds and some ritual, and the person becoming pure again. And this is very interesting. This is in general what our two parashat talking about. There is other few laws about pure, becoming pure in this week, but in general. And there is a few interesting details. First of all, I mentioned that only the Kohen can do it. It's because the Kohanim, according to tradition, the Kohanim having inside them some kind of goodness. They're all grandsons of Aaron. Aaron was a person of peace. And that's why they would say if it's pure or not. What is the connection? So last week we talked about kosher food. This week we're talking about something that we're taking outside our mouth, not something that we're putting inside our mouth. How is the connection? So our sage is telling us, for what coming the tzarat, the plague? Why God giving this leprosy to a person? So if a person talking against or badly on another person, this is the reason. So God giving in his house something not nice. And then he having all this story with the Kohen to destroy the house. And if he doesn't understand, continuing, he having in his clothes. If he doesn't understand, he having in his body. So it's very special thing that God created, that people will understand how bad is to speak badly on a person. But there is something very interesting with that. If we will talk about words a little bit. In Hebrew, there is 4 ways to call, I'm talking about the Torah's Hebrew. There is 4 ways how you say words that they have the same meaning. A few words with the same meaning.
The synonyms.
Synonyms.
Synonym.
Something like that. And in Hebrew, there is 4 words that have the same meaning to call a person. There is Enosh. You know what is Enosh in Hebrew? In Old Hebrew, Enosh is a person. There is Ish. Ish. This we're using in modern Hebrew. Ish. There is Adam. And there is Enosh, Ish, Adam. I'm missing one. Gever. Very good. Yes. What is the difference between the levels? That Adam is the perfect person. He have his mind in a perfect shape, and his heart in the right place. And there is Gever. Gever is calling a person that is heart in the right place. Gever in Hebrew, we're using it also. Gever is a person that is from the word mitgaber. Mitgaber is to overcome. So a person with a strong heart. Ish, talking about the head. A person with the mind is in the right place. And Enosh is the lowest level. Not heart, not mind.
But what about the look? What about the look?
The look? The looks.
Yeah.
It's a good question. Probably the looks, it's not so important. Maybe. In our world, it's very, very strong thing to say, but it is true. And when the Torah want to talk about a person that having the tzarat, what kind of name the Torah calling this person? Not Enosh, not the lowest level, not Ish, not Gever, Adam, the perfect person. We learned a few weeks ago that Adam was a perfect person. He was too perfect. But he was perfect. So Adam is perfect. So why the Torah calling Adam, this person that having the tzarat? And the question is, we would ask the question in a different way. Who else our sages calling him? Not only our sages, in the Bible, his name is Metzora. Metzora means a person that having the tzarat. The Mashiach, that according to the Jewish belief and according to Jewish law, he would be the perfect person. This is the cat also?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
I thought it's Hannah.
No, it's not Hannah, not. Mashiach, our sages and the Rambam telling us he would be prophet like Moshe. He would be smarter than King Solomon. He would be like Adam before the sin. He would be the perfect. And he is the person that the Torah calling him Metzora. And the question is why? And the answer is that, first of all, we'll say in a simple level. There is, our sages telling us, the Jewish people came, they conquered, today is Independence Day starts. Jewish people, when they first came to Israel, they conquered the land. There were people there. We're not denying it. And Yehoshua was the leader of the Jewish nation. And he sent a letter to every nation, every city, that you have three options. Or to become a Jew, or to go away, or to go to a war. And we will win. So they came to many places and they were their houses. And of course they lived in the houses that they were. They didn't build the houses. Actually, the Torah mentioning it once. We got the land with the houses. And why they did it, by the way? Because God said so. God told them, this is your land. So they came and took it. There was no... that was the... And actually in the state of Israel today also, this is the reason that we have a claim. If I can mention, by the way. We can say many, many things. But the claim of the Jewish people on the state of Israel, on the land of Israel, if I would say more correct, it's because God gave a gift to the Jewish nation. He gave them the Torah, He gave them the mitzvot, and He gave them land. And the land stayed waiting for the Jewish people. And when a Jewish person living in the land of Israel is doing a mitzvah, and this is it. And according to the Jewish law, you're not allowed to go out even. There is special reasons to go out. All the other stuff are not good reasons. This is a good reason. The only reason, maybe. So the story was that a person came to a house. He didn't build the house. It was a good fit, 100 meters, 4 rooms, enough for the 12 children that he had. And he living there, and then after 1 week, he's seeing this plague, this tzarat on the wall of the house. And he doesn't understand. I mean, yes, I saying word here or there, I'm not talking so bad about people. So he calling the Kohen, and he really hoping the Kohen would say, it's nothing. But the Kohen said, it looks bad, we will need to wait 1 week. So we're waiting 1 week. After 1 week, you're really hoping that the Kohen would say, it's okay. The Kohen coming with this meter, start measuring, something change, something stay the same, or become bigger. So the Kohen said that the law is the law, you need to break this wall. And he becoming sad, start taking all the things from the house, start calling his friends, looking to apartment to live for a few weeks with the 12 children. And he start breaking the wall, and he start feeling that the wall, the old houses, the wall was very, very, very wide. Start breaking the walls, and he feel that there is emptiness. The wall is not with stones. And he discovering treasures, the nations that were there hiding everything that they had, that they got, they're hiding it in the walls. After he destroying the walls, everybody here, how much treasure that he got, and everybody wants to take him for the few weeks until he renovate the house. So that was kind of a way that God shows something special about the tzarat. It's true that I doing something that is not comfortable for you, and you need to learn from it. First of all, it means that you talk too much. But there is also something good in it. In everything there is something good. So maybe this is a little bit will give us understand about the Mashiach. Mashiach wanna tell us, there is, how you say the redemption in Hebrew? Geula. When the Mashiach will come, we will go to a new era, the world will enter a new era, the era of the Geula. Geula, the redemption. How we calling the time before the Geula, the time that we are now? It's called the time of the Galut. Yes? Gola. And our Rabbi explaining something amazing. The difference between the words Gola and Geula, it's actually the same word. Gola, Geula. What is the difference? Gola, you're writing Gimel, Go, Vav, Lamed, Hey. This is Gola. Geula, you're writing Gimel, Aleph, Vav, Lamed, Hey. The only difference between Gola and Geula is one letter. Aleph, the first letter. What the Rabbi learned from it? There is no difference between Gola and Geula. There is major difference, but there is no difference. What is the difference? It's the same world, everything staying the same. It just with Aleph. God, the first Aleph, the first letter, is in everything. It's in the Gola. If you will add Aleph to the Gola, it will be Geula. If you would see in every detail in the world that God is in it, this is Geula. And this is actually what will happen in the Geula. What will be in the Geulah? What is so special about the Geulah? In the Geulah, we would see how all the world is basically creation of God, and all the things that are happening in the world are actually a process until the name of the world, the God, will be separate, and it's a process to good, in the way of being good. This is all the whole idea of the Geulah. The whole idea of the Geulah is that the world is the same world. But in this world, there is the idea, the name of God is revealed. Because if it is not the same world, so what is the point of the Galut? What is the point that we will work here, and the world when Mashiach will come will be a different? If it's different, I mean, the workplace and the paradise, if it's not the same, so something is not true. Because why would we work here? Why God needed to create this world and to give us a different world as a price? The idea is that we now creating the Geulah. When we working right now in the Geulah, God will just add the Aleph. All the work that we're working right now in the time until the Geulah just will be revealed. So this is in a little bit deeper idea of the same idea of the Tzarat. Tzarat, a person breaking his house and discovering treasures. Everybody, we need to know that everything that's happening in the world is Geulah. For now, it's missing the Aleph. But the Aleph maybe is here. You need to all put your Aleph in your mind. And if you would look on everything as a process, as a way that God showing you something, it will be Geulah. You will create your Geulah, your redemption. There is amazing thing that the Rambam writing. If you're thinking about it, it's pretty amazing. You know, in the Jewish history of books, there is something very, very important to know. We printing books for many, many years. From the beginning of printers by, what was his name? Johann Gutenberg, yes, something like that. That created the printer, Jewish people printing. In the time of we started to print books, came the story of Zensur. You know what is Zensur? Censura? Elena? I don't hear you. You're on mute.
It's censorship.
Yes. Okay. So what happened? Many of our books talking also about the non-Jews, and not all the things that we're saying they would like. Yes. So things got erased from the books, but Jewish people knew how to remember them, and in the late years we putting them back, of course, in the books. One of the things that was erased by the censor is from the book of Rambam. Avraham, you with me? Yes. In the book of Rambam, one of the things, and it's an amazing thing that the Rambam writing, and it was erased, and we have it, of course, right now. The Rambam writing about the other nations. He writing the names. He writing Muhammad, and he writing the Christian guy, and he saying that they and what they created, the nations that they created, they were only a process. Process for what? Process for the Mashiach. They are a step and they got the world a step further to Mashiach. How come? So the Rambam saying very simple. In our world, you would say Mashiach, everybody will know what you're talking about. In our world, you would say there is only one God, and everybody will know what you're talking about. In our world, you would say a lot of laws of the Torah got spread in the world specifically because of their nations. Of course, a lot of mistakes also about Judaism, people mistaking because of them. But a lot of ideas of Judaism got spread to the world because of their nation, and the world is more ready to the coming of the Mashiach. If Mashiach would come 2,000 years ago, he would say, I am the Mashiach. So the world will not understand. What is Mashiach? Who needs redemption here? What are you talking about? Of course, not today. People understand much more, but people know that there is some kind of Mashiach, and that's what the Rambam is saying, that the nations are a step to Mashiach. And I can ask you a simple question, and of course, the answer is obvious. But the Rambam saying that Christianity and Islam is good. How many Jews died because of Christianity and Islam? Billions of millions. So the Rambam coming in the middle of the Crusades, hundreds of thousands of Jewish people in Europe died because of that. And the Rambam saying it's okay, it's process. No, it doesn't say it's okay, because we are now in the Golah. But if we would look on the big picture, and we would, in the time of the Geulah, we would understand that everything is a process. Everything have good in it. And that's why we will give us a little bit more explanation about that. The Mashiach, his name is Metzora. Yitzarua. Why? Because he will reveal, you had plague in your house and then you find treasures. Because all the world is a process, in everything there is good, and this is the point of Geulah. The point of Geulah is to put the Aleph in the world that we're having today. This is one idea that we can learn from Metzora. I hope it's understandable. I would say another small idea about Brit Milah, about circumcision that we're learning in our parasha. About Brit Milah, there is very interesting thing. We will learn a little bit Talmud. The law is that Brit Milah you're doing in the 8th day. And you're not doing it in the night. It's only in day. Why? Because our sages learning it from the Torah. The Torah saying Bayom. Yom, it's a day, it's not night. If a person, his father unfortunately did it to him. Why? Many reasons can be. Maybe if he didn't have a chance. He couldn't. So the law is that the Beit Din, the Jewish court in the area, need to do it to the child. If the Beit Din didn't do it, so he needs to do to himself. What about the mother? Why the mother cannot do it to the son? So, by the way, there is a story in the Torah when Moshe Rabbeinu going from Midian to Egypt with his two sons to take the Jewish people out of Egypt, the first leader, Moshe Rabbeinu, he, for some reason, did not do a brit to his son. Who did the brit? His wife, the mother. Tzipora did the brit to the son. So of course the mother can do it. I don't think she would want to do it, but of course the mother would do it if there is no chance. But according to the Jewish law, the obligation going from the father to the Beit Din and to the child himself when he have a chance. So why the mother no? So the answer is, the Talmud saying, the answer is because we're learning it from the words of the Torah. Who, the Torah saying who, in a male way, not in the female way. So the Torah talking about only male. So again, we're talking about parents to the child. If the mother needs to organize the circumcision for the child. One of the sages, commentaries of the Talmud, asking a question. What is the question? The question is, of course the mother is not obligated to do it. Why the Torah need to tell us that the mother is not obligated? Why it's so simple that the mother is not obligated to do it? Because the mother is a woman, and women obligated to do only mitzvot, they are not time limits. There is a law that, for example, the laws of prayer, woman is not obligated. Why? Because we're praying in time limits. The time of Shacharit, time of Mincha. Women not necessarily need to eat in the Sukkah. Why? Because it's only 1 week in the year. So, Brit Milah, she is not obligated to do it to the kid. Why? Because it's only in days, not in nights. So it's time limited. This is the question of one of the commentaries. So why the Torah need to tell us, why would we think that the mother needs to organize the circumcision to the child? We would not think that. Why we would not think it? Because it's time limited commandment. It's only the beginning of Talmud. Talmud is much more deep. And there is many answers. Many answers. One of the answer is that it's true that Brit Milah we're doing only in days. And Brit Milah it's only limited mitzvah, time limited mitzvah, because it's only in days. We're not doing it on night. But in the beginning, the first Brit Milah was in the nights. What does that mean? There is a story that when Jewish people were in Egypt and God commanded Moshe that they will eat matzah in the first Pesach that they were still in Egypt. They came to Moshe, many of them, and asked, can we do the mitzvah? And Moshe told them, you can, but there is one problem. You have no circumcision. Many of them did not do it in Egypt. And the law is that if you are not circumcised, you cannot eat the Pesach. This is a law until today. So what they did circumcision in the same night. So they did it in the night. How come? So we will not go why is that now, But from that we see that before Matan Torah, we're talking here before Matan Torah, still in Egypt, you could do Brit Milah at night. After Matan Torah, it's only by days, but before Matan Torah, it's also by nights. That's why we would think, because in the core of the mitzvah, it's not limited by time, we would think that women, they are obligated to do Brit Milah for their kids if they didn't have a chance. And that's why the Torah need to give us a special law that telling us, no, the woman is not obligated. I hope it was understandable. Why I'm saying all this? Because I want to, through that, to understand something a little bit more deep about Brit Milah. Brit Milah we're doing in the 8th day. And our sage is telling us that there was an argument between Ishmael and Yitzchak. Ishmael, the older brother of Yitzchak, two sons of Abraham. Ishmael did circumcision in the age of 13. Yitzchak was 8 days. And Ishmael telling Yitzchak, of course, I'm better than you, because I agreed to do Brit Milah. And Yitzchak telling him, no, I'm better. Why? Because I was not asked to do Brit Milah. So of course we're seeing that he was Jew and he was not. Okay, this we're seeing from the answers. This is for sure. But what is the meaning of this answer of Yitzchak? Brit Milah have something special in it. Brit Milah is mitzvah that we're doing in our body. And so what? We're doing it in our body in the 8th day. What is 8th? What is special about the 8th? 8th is 1 after 7. 7 is the world. I'm sure Elena thought about it, and probably also Abraham. 7 is our world. Our world is built from cycles of 7. 7 days and 7 years. And now it's Sfirat HaOmer, so every week is 7. 7 representing complete world. Not only 6 days of work, also 1 day of resting. Complete everything. But this is complete world. And we are connected to something that is more. To the 8th level. Actually, our sage is telling us that when Mashiach will come, you will have a violin of 8 strings. I will not understand the difference between the noises. No, it's representing something above. All the music in our world is not in the same level. It's a totally different level. It's something from above. It's a different melody. It's not melody of complete world. It's a world that is complete because there is also something that above the world here, present. And we're seeing it. And this is Brit Milah. In the 8th day, we're putting in our body that we are connected to something above. This is what Yitzchak telling Ishmael. You didn't understand. You decided to do it. So it's again, it's like tefillin. It's a mitzvah that is connected with your mind. It's Brit Milah, it's special. It's not connected with what I understand, with the violin of 7 string. It's connected to violin with 8. I do not understand. My connection to goodness, to God, it's not by choice. That's why it's the only mitzvah that it's in our body. That is so strong connection. And this is why the Brit Milah, in the core of the Brit Milah, can be also in nights. In the night, it means that we want to go out, when we're going out from Egypt, we can do it in the night also. The rest of the year, of the days, we're doing it by day. But when we are in a special level of going out of Egypt, so the night is, we can turn the night to day. They were in the night that they were going out of Egypt. This night was like day to them, because it was so light. The light was so big in that night that it was like a day, because they show how deep. That was the real circumcision. They show the connection that happening in the Brit Milah was revealed in that night. So it didn't matter if it's night or day. In our days, we are in the Golah, it's not revealed. So that's why we're doing the Brit Milah only by day. But in the time that they were going out of Egypt, the connection between Jewish people and God was revealed, totally revealed. Like the Geulah almost. That's why they were able to do Brit Milah also by night. Okay, let's summarize all the things that we learned. There is something very special about Tzara'at. What is so special? The Torah, not exactly, even though it seems like that, but it's not exactly coming as a punishment. All the details of the Metzora, not exactly coming as a punishment. How we know? First of all, the Torah saying that I'm giving the Tzarat to great people, to Adam. By the way, who we know on the Torah that got the Tzarat? Two people, Moshe and his sister, Miriam. They were, both of them, very big prophets. Moshe, of course, and his sister. They got the Tzarat, meaning Tzarat is something very special. And the Mashiach is a person that Tzarat, and even Beit HaMikdash we're calling it Tzarat. So why is that? It's not punishment, it's to reveal something deeper. So first of all, in the simple level, we know that people got the Tzarat and discovered treasures in their houses. But in a deeper level, the Tzarat is connected to Mashiach. That's why we're calling the Mashiach Tzarat. Why? Because when Mashiach will come, we will see how all the world is a process. It's that the world is a place of God. And every goodness that we're doing, it means that God is more in the world. We don't see it because the Aleph is not in the Golah. The Aleph would revealed in the Geulah. There is no difference between our world and the world of the Mashiach. When Mashiach will come, all the things that we're doing today will be revealed. And this is what we're learning from the Metzora. There is goodness in everything. And that's why the Mashiach is Metzora. And about Brit, we're saying this is the reason that Brit is 8 days. Because in 8 days, we want to show that our connection to God is something that it's above nature. It's above nature. And that's why the first Brit that was, the first Brit that the Jewish nation as a nation did, it was in the night. Why? Because that night was like the Geulah. That night was the night of the redemption of Egypt. And in that night and day was the same. We today doing it by day because we are in the Golah. It's not revealed how the connection with the Jew with God is so strong. But when the time of the redemption of Egypt, the connection between Jewish people and God was so strong, so it was no difference between night and day. That's why they did the Brit also in the night. This is the ideas, and I hope it's understandable. I'm talking about Brit because it's 8 days after I had my daughter. If she was boy, we had the Brit today. Of course, our sage is telling us that girls, female, they burn with the Brit. You know that, Elena? We don't hear you. Maybe it's by purpose.
Sorry, maybe you will repeat. Sorry,
I just said that our sage is telling us that females considered in the Jewish law like they had Brit. They're not obligated to Brit, to have a Brit.
right,
They considered burn with the Brit.
right.
So, of course, there is no, how it's called? There is no, you're not lacking something. There's no something of missing something. Yeah.